Hello and welcome to Johncanfixanything. Today I'm going to show you how to install a dual remoted oil filter system for your Chevy Silverado. Now this is going to remote two filters, and it's also going to add some capacity to your Silverado oil system. So if you want to know how to add these two filters to your Silverado, then stay tuned. Okay, let's talk about safety real quick. We're going to be lifting the truck up, so make sure you use a very good jack and use jack stands. Okay, don't take any chances with a vehicle that weighs over 3,000 pounds. Make sure you use some kind of a safety glasses. You probably want to get some rubber gloves. You don't have to have them, but it'd probably be good because you can work with oil. You're basically going to be doing an oil change in the beginning because you got to get all that old oil out of there. So you're going to need your oil pan and everything you normally use to change your oil with. You're going to need that. Okay, and so what I did was I was looking for a way to dual remote my truck, and the reason I want to do that is because I'm 60 years old and I don't like climbing underneath the truck anymore, and I also wanted to give it a little more capacity than what its standard has, which is 6.5 quarts. I wanted to add another filter to it as well. So I started researching on the market, and I did find a kit, and I have it here, but it didn't quite meet up to the standards that I was looking for, and I'll show you why. So what I did is I did a lot of research, and I came up with this TD Trans Dap system, and I'll put all the information in the column in the remarks so you'll see that. And these Wix XPs are the filters. They're the 51085 XPs, okay, and you can use any filter you want to, it doesn't really matter. Well, let me show you this kit, and then I'll explain it. Okay, so what the kit comes with, it comes with all your hardware to basically go on these very simple and very cheap hoses, which I didn't like them, okay, so I kind of said, nope, not going to do that. So that's the first thing. Plus, when I looked at where I wanted to remote it, I wanted to go a lot further. So what I ended up doing is I went to my local Tractor Supply, and I got two of these made up, and they're about 33 inches. And you'll see in the video where I put mine, and you can put yours anywhere you want. But if you'll notice these, I mean, these are the way they should be. And I wanted a 90 on the one, and I'll show you during the installation why. And then I wanted a straight on the other one. And I mean, just look at the comparison between this and what I got. And these are the type that way you just kind of put them in and put a clamp on them. And that's not what I want to trust my truck oil system to. So I went ahead and I had two of these made. But what was good in the system was, this is the receiver that takes the place of your oil filter in underneath. This was a good piece right here. And the dual system was a good piece as well. Okay, and these come in the kit. I've just got them stuck in there because I wanted to test my filters. So these two pieces are the key that I needed for that kit, and there wasn't really anything else on the market. And then there's plugs that go in whichever side I don't use, you know, things like that. Basically all the hardware comes in this kit, which I got everything, and then I just upgraded the hoses. Those hoses aren't cheap either, so be prepared. I think it cost me over $90 for the hoses, but remember, you get what you pay for, and you're talking about your truck, and if you have a leak on the oil system, there goes your engine. Okay, so that's basically how I put it together as far as the parts go. I went with a Trans Dap kit, and then I upgraded my hoses. Everything else looked pretty good. I went with Wix XPs, and again, you can go with whatever you want. Whatever fits on the dual mount is up to you. Okay, so that's basically everything. I will do a tool list as we go along because I'm not quite sure yet exactly what tools I'm going to do, but we are going to jack the vehicle up. I am going to take the tire off the passenger side, but I'm only doing that just so it gives you a better look at what we're doing. Okay, so that's basically what we've got, and I'm going to go ahead and get the vehicle ready, and then we'll start on. Hello, welcome back. I actually am stopping the video and I'm inserting this into the video, so please pay attention. When I completed the entire project, the Wix filters actually seeped just a little bit. And we could not figure out why. I couldn't figure out what was wrong with anything. I'm still at a loss. I actually went to the manufacturer for the dual filter platform. They sent me a new dual filter bracket. I replaced it, put the filters back on, and for whatever reason, the Wix filter just seeps just a little bit, just enough to agitate you. It's not even really a drip, but it's there, and I have not been able to figure out why. So I took the extra dual bracket, I went to Walmart, and I went through several boxes of filters until I found the filter I thought was best, which is this PH8A. Okay, and I ended up buying 2 of these and putting them on, and had absolutely no issues from then on. I've had it on the truck now for weeks, and I've not had a drip. So for whatever reason, please change the Wix option to the PH8A option, or you can use whatever option you want to use. But I know that the PH8A Fram works, and there's no dripping. So please make a note of it. Otherwise, you're going to get to the end of this video and you're going to have a little seepage and you're not going to be happy. So thanks a lot, and we'll go ahead and continue the video. Okay, before we get started, let's talk about preparation. Okay, this project, it's not a super difficult project, but it does have complexity, and you need to be prepared before you start this project. Okay, don't cut any corners. Okay, don't try to cheapen it up. You're talking about your oil system on your truck. Okay, don't screw around. You know, follow the directions that I'm going to give you, and trust me, because I've been doing this stuff for practically all my life. Okay, when I said I changed the hoses out, I did it for a reason. The hoses in that Trans Dap kit just aren't going to cut it, and they're not going to be long enough to do what you want to do anyway. I went to a tractor supply place, local place of mine here, and I had them make me this 33-inch hose, and the ends on these are industrials grade. Okay, don't short this. Okay, make sure you do that. All right, use those. Don't use the kit ones. Okay, take the kit connections with you and take them to that place and say, here's what I need, and I need it this long. Decide where you want it on your truck, and do it that way. Okay, now the adapter that takes the place of your filter on the engine. Okay, it's got a O-ring on it. Okay, it's not installed. Okay, it's in the kit. Make sure you install that O-ring, and you install that O-ring properly, because this is what's going to make the fit between your engine and this system. Okay, don't screw around with that. Make sure it's right. You're going to have to get it up there. It says hand tight. I put it in there super tight. I didn't put a wrench on it, but I really got on it. Okay, so don't skimp on that as well. All right, now the dual holder. This is the dual filter holder right here. Okay, and it comes just like this. It doesn't have the nipples or anything on it. All right, the nipples come with it, and you'll see that one's a long end and one's a short end. The short end goes in here, okay, into the adapter. All right, when you put that in, use thread lock and use red. Okay, don't use blue. It's not a medium. This isn't a medium application. This is a heavy duty application. It's going to be holding your filters on, and they're going to be, hanging out in the air. Okay, you want to make sure you use red, use the nipples, put the short end in the right way, let that set up on the red. Okay, so that you don't have any issue with ever losing one of those nipples, because if you do, your engine's going to be shot. Okay, now I'm going to have mine set up like this on the frame of the truck. It's going to be setting like this. My hoses are going to go in on this side. Okay, now in the kit you have a couple plugs, and you're going to have to put the plugs on the other ends. Okay, whatever you don't use, you're going to have to plug them. Now they're loose. I can feel it. The threads are loose in there. Make sure you use Teflon tape and use plenty of it on these and on the hoses. Okay, anything that's not on direct contact with oil, you wouldn't use it on your nipples, of course, on these, because it would have direct contact with oil and wouldn't do you any good. all right? But for these plugs, make sure you use the Teflon tape, and on the hoses, make sure you use the Teflon tape, okay? And you want to crank them down. You want to make sure you got enough pressure on them so that they don't ever come out again, okay? Now, when you get ready to mount this, I don't know where you're going to mount it, but I'm mounting it to the frame of the truck, okay? The frame of that truck's about this wide, so I won't be able to drill holes all the way through it. So it comes with 3 bolts. They're really cheapies. One of them is actually stripped when I looked at it. These are the bolts it comes with, and they come with some nuts. You're not going to be able to use them on the frame because you can't get in there to put these on with, okay? And these would rust in, 4 or 5 months. So I went to the local hardware store, and I got a size larger. Okay, these are 5/16, and they fit a lot better into there. There's 3 holes here, and I got 3 stainless steel with stainless steel lock washers. Okay, this fits a 5/16. Let's see, make sure I get it right. A 5/16 18 tap. Okay, that's what that stainless steel bolt fits, because I'm going to tap the frame. Okay, so I've got a 1764 drill bit. I'm going to drill pilot holes, and I'm going to drill it out to 17/64ths, and then I'm going to take that tap and I'm going to tap it, and then I'm going to put this on my frame with those stainless steel bolts, and I'm not ever going to have to worry about it, and it's never going to rust, and I'm not going to have any issues. Okay, that's where that kit gives you the basics, but all of the accessorial things just weren't good enough quality. Okay, so that takes care of pretty much everything as far as the kit itself goes and how you need to handle it. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll go back out to the truck after I'm going to prep my bibs and get everything installed so that thread can work in there and seal everything up the way I want it. Then I'll go out to the truck and I'll show you how to prepare the truck, because there's some things that we need to remove to get to this so that we can fit everything. So I'm going to go ahead and get all that prepared, and I will be back. Okay, I'm underneath the truck, and that is my oil filter housing right off the bottom of the engine. Okay, I've got it all cleaned off. I took the filter off. I basically drained my oil out of the drain pan, just like you do in a standard oil change. I took the filter off. I cleaned everything up. Now, in order to get to that the way we are right now, you've got to take off a couple of things. Okay, one is just the support, just exactly like this one. Okay, and that's a 15 millimeter. Okay, and right here's where it was. Got to take that one off, and that gives you pretty much unobstructed access, okay, to that filter. And then there is a cover, all right, that kind of covers this whole area right in here. All right, and that's 15 millimeter. There's a 15 millimeter, 2 15 millimeters on top of it, and then there's some 10 millimeters. And I'll go ahead and I'll show those both to you. But there's my unobstructed access, which you've got to have to put your adapter on and put your hoses in. Okay, and I'll go ahead and show you. There's the cover, and there's that little I-beam. Okay, so the cover, you got, I think you have 4 10 millimeters and the 2 15s, and then that little cross member is 2 15 millimeters. Okay, so you got to just go ahead and take those off. You're definitely going to need to, so that you can, because we're going to be, I'll show you where we're going to be mounting it. Okay, right there. Get a little bit better light in here. Right there is where we're going to mount it. Okay, and we're going to run those hoses from there, and we're going to run them up through there. They're going to come out over in the top here, and they're going to curve around up into here, and then that whole assembly is going to end up right there on the frame. Okay, that's where we're going. All right, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so I'm set up back underneath, and what I've done is I went ahead and put my, this is the outbound hose on my adapter. I went ahead and I put it on, okay, like that. And I already tightened it down with the Teflon tape. And the reason I did the outside outbound one first is because it's really, really tight on this housing. When I go to put it in, you'll see. So I'm going to go ahead and slide this one in. Get that going. Then I can just roll that around with the hose, and it'll just twirl around back down underneath here. Okay, now don't forget the O-ring, okay, on that adapter, or you're going to be in major trouble. All right, the center one I didn't have to put the hose on because it's in the middle and I can get to it pretty easy, but this one was on the side and I couldn't, so I went ahead and attached it. Okay, now and I'm cranking this down as hard as I can by hand, which is what they say to do. All right, so that's installed. The adapter's not going to move anymore. Okay, and I've got my hose in. All right, and see how that came up right against here, and then you've got that cover. The support that's going to be right there too. Okay, it's going to be like right here, right there to right there. So it's going to go this side of the support. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed that through. I'm going to feed this through right through here, like this, and it will go through because a friend of mine and I've already done it to make sure that it fits. All right, now that's through. Okay, let me move this around so you can see. Right there, it goes right through there. Let me make sure I got that so you can actually see it. Yeah. Okay, that's where the hose goes through. Right there. Let me put a little more light into there so you can see that. Okay. All right, and then that brings it out. Right up through here. Okay, where we need it. So now I'm going to go ahead and get the other one ready, and I'm going to pipe it through. Okay, so I've got this repositioned the best I can so that you can see as much of it as possible. So there's the one I just installed, and now I've got the other one ready and prepared. I've got the Teflon tape on it, and I've got a lot better straight shot on this one. So just spin it around. Okay, so I got them both installed. It's a 22 millimeter, and I just went ahead and tightened them both up. And it also snugged that up, the adapter up a little bit more too as well. But it's in there good now. Not gonna have any leaks. Okay, so now I'm gonna work this second hose up through here. Right up through this way. Just like that. And I'm going to go ahead and move over onto the other side so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to go ahead and pull this other hose through. Now I've got the hoses run through, and I've just got them resting right here on the outside of the bumper. Now I'm going to go ahead and reposition everything. So so I can show you how to put that dual filter mount where it belongs. Okay, so that's how I set up my dual filter adapter, and I put it on there with a clamp so that I could mark the holes in the back, and I used a scribe to mark the holes in the 3 holes. And then what I did is I took it off. I'll go ahead and take it off for you, and I'll show you right now. Get that out of the way. Then I went ahead and I scribed them, and then I took a center punch and I punched all 3 of them. Now I know exactly where I need to drill, and make sure you use a really good solid drill. I'm using an actual drill that you plug in, not a battery drill. Okay? Matter of fact, I'll show it to you here in just a second. Alright, that's what I used to scar the holes with. I used a center punch, ball peen hammer. Don't skimp on the drill bits. Make sure you use really good quality. I'm going from this size, medium, then finish up. Okay? Don't skimp, because that is going to be some very tough steel. Okay? So I'm going to get to drilling. Okay, that's the drill I'm going to use. It's an actual plug-in drill. It's a DeWalt. Buddy of mine next door let me borrow it. And don't skimp on that or the drill bits, because you're going to need them. Very tough frame that you're going to drill through. Alright, so I've got the bracket mounted, and I went ahead and attached my hoses. And I've still got to put my covers and stuff back on, but I want to get to the most important thing of this entire project, and that's your hose installation. Okay, I'm going to go over it step by step, because you can't mess this up. If you do, it's not going to work. Okay, so I got that all installed. I went up to a 932 on the drill bit. I had to go up just one more size up to get the hole large enough so that I could use the tap. Okay, so don't forget that 932 is the drill bit size. Okay, for a 5/16. All right, let me pull this over here, and then we're gonna go over the okay. Let me get this where I can see. The best angle I can get. Okay, now the center hole is in, okay, and the outer hole is out, in and out, just like they say. Okay, so the center hole on the adapter is the in feed, and the outside hole is the out feed. It is very clearly marked. Okay, it's very clearly marked. The inbound hose goes to the outbound on the adapter, okay, and the outbound hose goes to the inbound on the adapter. All right, so if you look over here, okay, you see the 2 hoses. The one closest to the frame of the truck is the inbound, and the inside one is the outbound. So I'm gonna put my hand on it. Hold on. That's outbound. The one closest to the inside is inbound. Okay? And it's clearly marked on the top. Okay, but once you put it up in there, you won't be able to see it. But there's an arrow right on this top right here. One is going out and the other one's going in. Inbound, outbound. Okay? And then center, okay, is in, and the outside one is out. All right, that is the most important thing of this entire project. If you get that wrong, then the project's going to be a failure. All right, I'll go ahead and put the filters on. Hold on just a second. Okay, well, I'm under here. That is the suspended bracket that I took off before so that I could have access to the hoses. Okay, there's a 15 millimeter right there, 15 millimeter right there. It's basically a carbon copy of this other one right here. Okay, I put that one back on, tightened it back up,
and I went ahead and used some zip ties in a couple places. Okay, you could see a zip tie there, and one there, and I put that one there because there's a pulley. It's not real close, but I don't want to take any chances. So there's the pulley right there behind it. I just didn't want to take any chances for it. Okay, so everything is tightened up, everything is cleaned up. Now I'm going to put my my big splash bracket back on. Okay, and you can see right there, that's where the 15 millimeter goes there and there. All right, so give that little room right there. All right, and I'm going to pre-fill my filters. I'm going to go ahead and add to the filters right now, because I don't want it to have to travel all that distance and that hose empty when I start the truck. So I'm going to pre-fill both the filters. So we'll be back in just a few minutes. All right, I'm going to pre-fill these filters real quick. 5W30, remember, just like you're doing an oil change. Okay, now I'm doing this in, I'm using 1 quarts because I want to know exactly how much I'm putting back in. Normally I just do it in the 5s, but let's see how much these are much bigger filters than the original filters. They actually hold more than I thought. I don't know if you got to pre-fill these or not. I'm doing it because I just don't want that system to be dry for that long. Yeah, those filters. That filter is taking up quite a bit. Okay, it's still actually absorbing, and I put almost a quart in. I never knew that before. Didn't realize they absorb that much. I'm sure it's going to get to a point and then it's just not going to absorb any at all. I'm probably, yep, and I'm going to have a mess. So be careful. A little bit more on this one. When I screw that one on now, I bet I'm going to have a little bit of a mess, but we'll see. I'll leave a little more room on this one. Okay, all right, I'm going to reposition underneath the truck again. I'll be right back.
Here's a good look of the finished filters. Everything looks great, and I don't have any more seepage. Easy to get to, right off the front of the passenger side, and I don't even have to crawl under the truck anymore. So it turned out to be a very good project.
There's a pic of the oscillating saw I used, and that's exactly how much I cut out. I went basically right along the ridge line and just followed it. There's a line there. I just went and cut that off, and then this is the part that I cut right around the filter itself. Okay, and if you look over here from the side now, you can see it looks really good. All right, we'll go ahead and put the oil in.
All right, we finished the project up, and other than the Wix filters, the project went without a hitch. Make sure you swap out the frams for the Wix and you'll have no problem there. I've still been driving the truck now for weeks, and I have had no dripping, leaking, and the project worked out really well. I've got dual filter capability now with the extra oil. It's easy to get to. I don't have to climb in and under the truck anymore, and that made it all worth it. So if you liked the video, please give us a thumbs up, or better yet, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate it, and you all have a very great day.